Thanks for joining me on another video. I'm going away tomorrow on another small adventure, so I thought I would run through with you some of the kit that I'm taking. What I'll do is, if you're not too interested in the kit, I'll put the timestamp of when the kind of outdoor action is going to start. My kids tell me these bits are long and boring, so if you think the same, then you can skip ahead. So I'm going up to the north of Scotland. I'm going to do some of the hills around Loch Monar, and it's the middle of November at the moment, so well into autumn. The forecast is kind of reasonably good. There's a storm passing through that hopefully will pass through by tomorrow when I arrive. And then I'm going to set up for one night, a short walk in the dark in the evening, set up the tent, and then do a walk on the Saturday, camp, and then a walk on the Sunday. So kind of 2 days walking and 2 nights camping. And the weather certainly on Saturday looks good, not really too much rain or wind. Sunday looks like it could get a bit wild, but I'm hoping that it happens once I'm away. So pretty good forecast for this time of year. The route that I'm doing, there's only 8 hours of daylight at the moment, and so the route isn't especially long, but for 8 hours of walking maximum, then it's fairly long. It's about 40 kilometres, just over 40 kilometres, and about 3,500 metres of ascent over the 2 days walking. So it's not huge, but for 2 short days walking, it's reasonably ambitious for me at the speed I go at. So I need to kind of go as light as I can, but not too light. So this bit might be a bit longer than normal because it is autumn, and that's the time that I think is a bit more tricky to pack for, to work out what to take. I find it quite enjoyable because you're trying to work out which bits to take and which bits to leave. In the summer you can just kind of go as light as you want, and then in January, February, probably just taking all the winter gear, and it's fairly straightforward. This is the time when you have to make decisions, so I quite like it. And I'll talk through with you some of the decisions I'm making and why. So the first decision is to take this tent. This is a pyramid tent. I'm taking an inner with it. So this is the outer and this is the inner. So I'm taking a kind of 2 skin double layer tent. That's the first thing. That adds a bit of warmth and a bit of protection. It is a fully enclosed tent. It's not an open tarp that you might have seen me use before. Again, it adds more weather protection. I'm not using the lightweight single skin tent that I use in summer. I think that wouldn't be too wise at this time of year with some of the wind and rain that could pick up. You need to be prepared for the weather to turn a bit worse at this time of year than in the summer. Equally, I'm not taking my geodesic tent, the kind of standalone bulletproof tent. It also weighs a lot in spite of being very stable, so I'm not taking that because it's a bit too heavy. So the tent set up here will weigh about 1.2 kilos, something like that, and then pegs on top of that. So it's a kind of medium weight. So that's the tent I'm taking. I'm taking, you'll see in the video, I'm taking this sleeping bag. It's a 3-season down sleeping bag from Cumulus. Again, it's rated down to about -1 or 0, which is roughly the temperature it's going to get down to. So again, I'm not taking my kind of big heavier winter sleeping bag, but I'm not taking my summer sleeping bag either. So something in between, fairly straightforward. I've been trying to work out whether to wear my trail runners or whether to wear my heavier leather boots. Again, I'm not wearing my winter boots. I might have thought about wearing these. These are kind of a 3-season leather boot, but I think I'll wear the trail runners. They're really light, really comfortable, and there's not any snow forecast, and I don't think there's going to be any snow on the hills, so I think I should be okay in them. We'll see. Not quite sure if that's the right decision or not. That's footwear. I am going to take, though, a really lightweight, I think these are about 200 grams or something like that, a really lightweight pair of spikes. I would only take these if I actually was fairly sure I was never going to wear them. They're kind of an absolute backup. They are good, but they are very small spikes. But they are very light, so I'll take them as a backup, not expecting to wear them at all. If I was expecting to need to wear them just for short sections, then I would take these spikes. They're just a little bit larger. They're still lightweight, they're still not the full crampon, but they're a little bit heavier duty than the wee ones. But I think I'll take the wee ones. I'm going to take a down jacket for wearing in camp at night. Insulation, probably going to be colder, so I'm going to take that. I've been swithering about whether to take my winter sleeping mat, and I've decided I am going to take it. It's quite heavy, so I was keen not to, but I think I'm going to be in the tent for about 16 hours, something like that, so you're going to be lying in this for a long time, so I think taking the higher R value sleeping mat is a sensible decision in spite of the weight. And then I've got food. I am going to take these, the dehydrated meals, because I'm going to take a small stove and fuel. It's nice to have something warm to eat and drink at the end of a day when it's autumn or winter or whatever, so I will take that. And then I've got in here, I think, is like hat and gloves. Yeah, hat and gloves. I'm going to take a Gore-Tex jacket, just because it might rain, so I should need that. In terms of what I'm going to wear, I normally just wear walking trousers like this, and I was contemplating just taking these super light 80 gram over trousers, but I think what I'm going to do is take these Paramo trousers. They're kind of waterproof up to a point. They're extremely comfortable. You can just wear them all day, and if it's windy, rainy, cold, they're warm, they're comfortable, and I think they're going to be a better choice for this time of year with the weather. I will probably take the light waterproof trousers, just in case it gets very wet on the Sunday. I'll wear a woolen top as usual, and I'll walk in this jacket. Probably it's a windproof. It's Montane Prism jacket. It's quite common, so it's kind of got some mild insulation, synthetic insulation, so you can wear it as a mid-layer. I'll probably walk in that just for most of the time, and just put on the Gore-Tex jacket if it gets very wet, and that should be fine through the day. Hopefully get it all in this frameless 40 litre pack, all being well. Yeah, I think that's the main things. I've got the usual other things. I've got the map, and a toilet trowel. I've got the Gore-Tex socks because of the trail runners, a wash kit, That's my chest bag. I'm going to take a small Kindle to read in the evening, probably quite long hours in the evening. So I'll take that. I've got my first aid kit as usual. And then probably one of the main things actually is I've got quite a few battery packs with me, because you know, in winter your electronics tend to go down, and I do generally use my phone for navigation, although I've got the map and compass of course with me, but I do generally use my phone. I also, because the daylight hours are going to be so short, then one of the main things actually is to take a good head torch, because I might get caught out and need to walk either early in the morning or at night once it's dark. So I've got a head torch, I've got a spare rechargeable battery for it, I've got spare batteries which also fit it, and I've got a spare head torch. So plenty of options in terms of that, because I think that's really important. If you're maybe going to be walking at night, you need to make sure that you're going to be able to see. And then the other things, just the usual, battery packs, compass, spare lace, shoelace, that is, my temperature gauge, my locator beacon, and I think that's really it. So that's some of the decisions and why I've made them for this trip. I hope it's a good trip. I hope you enjoy watching it. Okay, we'll check the base weight without food and fuel. 7.1 kilos. I won't be able to see too much, but you can hopefully pick out that I'm on a forest track. I've started walking in, and it's dark, obviously. Not too wet though, or windy, so that's good. Don't know if you'll be able to make out. I've camped up next to this wire bridge, which I will need to cross in the morning. It should be fun. Looks okay though. I'll show you the tent. There's the Hexpeak. Hopefully you can see that. All set up. Not put the guy lines on it tonight because it looks like it's going to be a calm night. I'll show you inside. So there's the setup for tonight. I've got the Cumulus sleeping bag, down sleeping bag, and my pillow, a foam mat, and the winter or higher insulated mat. After I got my tent and sleeping bag set up, it was time to make some dinner and a cup of tea. But it wasn't long after that before I fell asleep. I knew I had a long day ahead of me the next day. There's my pitch from last night. Hopefully you can see, leave no trace. There's nothing there. It's about an hour till sunrise, but I'm going to crack on. And the first obstacle of the day is this river crossing with this wire bridge. So we'll give that a shot and see how we go. I should have filmed this bit, but I did get across the wire bridge no problem. Almost back at the Beelach. It's been a long slog from way over there, pathless, heavy going. Almost back at the Beelach, and then there should be a good path heading up these next two just there. Views all day, so I'm quite pleased to be at the top of this one and see that there's an excellent cloud inversion. Hopefully you can see that cloud's really high. It's about, must be about 900, 1,000 meters. That's the two hills I did this morning, just poking through with the sun setting behind them. I wish they'd been like that this morning when I was on them, but very nice anyway. It's been dark for 3 hours now, and I've been enjoying walking up this hill. But I have to say, I'm pleased to see this cairn. That's my 5th and final munro of the day. Now I'll head down and find a place to pitch the tent. There we go. probably won't come out, but I'll spin you around. There's a lovely plateau that I've been walking on. The moon's out and the stars are out, so it's been really nice. I'll see if the GoPro will pick it up. There's my pitch from last night. Just about to take the tent down. A wee bit later. Today it's just after sunrise, so there's plenty of light. You might be able to hear that the wind's just beginning to pick up. So we'll see what that's like on the tops. You can see the waterfall that I came down by last night in the dark. It's a bit sketchy, but not a bad pitch given that I'd find it in the dark. Flat, fairly dry. A good view to wake up to. Top of the final munro of the trip. Absolutely brilliant views. I'll spin the camera around and show you what I'm seeing. The views from up here are absolutely stunning. The Fineis and Ben Jerag somewhere over there. Right to Fisherfield and Sleoch, and then into Torridon. Over there, absolutely brilliant. He's not afraid. Just standing there. The weather has absolutely closed in now. It's pouring. I had to put on the waterproofs. So glad that I'm not up on the hills, that's for sure. You can probably see. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the footage from that trip up at Loch Monar. The forecast was to be fairly cold overnight, and that didn't really happen. You'll see it only got down to 4 degrees the first night and 5 degrees the second night, so it was warmer overnight than forecast. The rest of the forecast was pretty much spot on, or well, was fairly accurate. The cloud was forecast to lift during the day on the first day, and it didn't. It did stay quite low, but you'll see that allowed me to pop up through it later on in the day and get a fantastic inversion, which was just absolutely stunning, and definitely worth walking in the cloud for the bulk of the day. And then in day 2 the forecast was very accurate. It was a lovely morning, and you'll see the footage from Morrissey and out to Torridon and Fisherfield and so on, and that was great. But then as I dropped down, the cloud came in, the rain came on, and the wind got up, which was what had been forecast. So that's the way that it goes. The result of that is that I could have got away with a lighter tent, I could have got away with a lighter sleeping bag, I could have got away with a lighter sleeping mat. You'll remember that I took all of my kind of medium weight versions of all of them. I also took some extra insulation for the evening and the night, and I didn't really need that. So there was quite a lot of weight within all of that I could have got away with not carrying, but you can't really do that at this time of year. You have to prepare for it being worse than the forecast rather than relying on it being better than forecast. You have to prepare for it being worse, so you just have to get on with the fact that you've maybe carried a bit of extra weight, and you can't really take those risks. On the second day, you can see how quickly it turns from lovely blue sky with perfect views to quite wild, windy, heavy rain, and if it had been up high that would have been pretty violent at that point, so it does turn quickly, so you just need to get on with it. But it did mean that I carried kind of excess weight that I didn't really need to, but there isn't too much that you can do about that. It was a tough trip. There was quite a lot of walking in the cloud, and there was quite a lot of walking in the dark, both of which make it a bit more difficult than when it's blue sky, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I was kind of debating which boot or shoe to take. These are my 3-season leather boots, and I didn't think I was going to take them, and I didn't take them. I opted for the trail runners, and that was a good decision. They were absolutely fine, paired with the Gore-Tex socks. That was brilliant, and they worked really well. I certainly didn't regret that. There was absolutely no snow, and there was the temperatures were quite a lot too high really to get snow or anything like that happening, so that worked well. You'll see that I walked the second day. I think the sun set about 4, and I got back, or I pitched my tent about 9, so it was probably 5 hours walking in the dark, and there'd been a wee bit of walking at the start of the day in the dark as well, so there was probably 6-7 hours walking in the dark on that day, and I did all of that on the head torch. So I think I'd said to you I'd taken the head torch, I'd taken a spare battery for the head torch, I'd then taken another set of batteries, and I'd taken a spare head torch, and in addition these batteries are also rechargeable on the go, so I could have recharged it from a power bank that I had in my bag. So I was well set up for lighting on this trip, and obviously that was really needed because there was a lot of walking in the dark. I hadn't planned to do so much walking in the dark, but I decided it was a clear night, it was a relatively straightforward route up over the final Munro and down, and so I decided to press on given that the weather was going to change on the second day, and it was really nice walking across that plateau at night. The stars were out, the moon was out, and it was fantastic, but I did really need the head torch. So yeah, I was more than pleased that I'd taken it. This head torch I just thought I would highlight. It's the Petzl Actic Core, and as I say, it's got this rechargeable battery, and you can get spare ones. The batteries only weigh 20 grams, so you can take a couple of spares pretty easily. I've had lots of different Petzls over the years, even from way back when it was like a halogen bulb with a battery pack on the back, and they were really heavy, and then LEDs came in later, and I've quite a few LED versions, but about 18 months ago I got this one, and I've been really impressed with it, so I would recommend it if you're looking for a new head torch. It's got 3 settings. Well, it's got a red light as well actually, although I don't really use that, and then it's got 3 white light settings. You can almost get away with the lowest 8 lumen setting, on it around the tent. It's slightly dim, but you can pretty much do things around the tent on 8 lumens, and I think it gives something like 130 hours of use at that level. You can walk comfortably in the medium setting, which is 100 lumens, and you get about 8 hours light from that. And I did that. I walked for about 7 hours, or I did head torch on at that setting for about 7 hours, and it was fine. So that's good. And then it's got the highest setting I think is 450 lumens, and you get about 2 hours in that. I didn't really use that too often, just for like the wire bridge crossing and the odd bit of picking out a bit of a path or something. I didn't really need it too much, but you do have the benefit of that brighter setting if you need it. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new head torch, then I would recommend it. It is a good one. So a good trip. Certainly pleased with what I did, and hope that you enjoyed watching it. Thanks very much, and I will see you in the next one.